Minecraft, live streamed. I have been doing a lot of live streaming lately. Check me out on twitch.tv. In any case, as a result, I've been a little bit neglectful of exploration and tactics, but we are back today. We are going to do some experiments with snow. We are going to build a storage system. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back to Exploration and Tactics with Brian. It's been more than a week, which is crazy. I spent so much time this past week on the fan server. We'll definitely be having some more episodes of that, and for those of you who've managed to catch the live streams, I've done a number of live streams on the fan server as well. Here in the Exploration and Tactics world, you might notice something a little bit different, but if you don't see it here, you probably will over here. Things hopefully look a little less cluttered. I still have some holes in the ceiling, but there are far fewer chests in here. One of the things that I've been meaning to do, and that people have asked me to do over and over, is to build some kind of storage room, because I had so much inventory that I was trying to cram into this tiny house. And so, look at this! I've done exactly that! Mass storage! It's not the most beautiful building in the world, but at the same time I did try to kind of design it in the style of some of the other villages here. However, I gave it a nether brick slab roof, just to make it a little bit distinctive. It says mass storage. And if we hop inside here, oh, look at this! So much organization. And so, for example, if I see a chest that has cobblestone on it, it's filled with cobble. And so is this one. And this one says ice. And so it's filled with ice blocks. And so there are many different items that I had multiple of. I went ahead and made 2 chests for saddles because I knew I was going to need more room for all the saddles that I have. But basically, this is a nice way to store things that I contain, you know, many and many different items of, to kind of store away. It's interesting when the, I feel like there's a weird effect when the, yeah, at the top left of my screen, the item frame stops rendering before it kind of exits the frame, and the same thing's happening at the bottom left. I hadn't noticed that before. That's a little bit weird looking. I think item frames and picture frames and a couple other things in Minecraft have some weird rendering artifacts associated with them. But in any case, this is really nice. I am able to put the chests this tightly together because this is a row of chests, this is a row of trapped chests, and this is a row of chests again and trapped chests, and so they just kind of alternate. Item frames, and you can stack other things now on top of things that would normally be difficult to place things on top of. An item frame, if I want to place it against the chest, if I just try to right-click with the item frame, of course you just go into the chest, but now you can hold down Shift or Sneak, and then if you right-click, you'll actually like place a block against something that you would normally interact with. And so that's how we get the item frames on here. And so this is very nice compact storage. It's not a big building, but it stores tons and tons of stuff, and so I'm going to be happy with that, I think. At the same time, I still need to do some more kind of renovations on the house and organization of the chests in here. But I feel like that's something that's been weighing on me for a long time, and so I'm happy to have it done. For those of you who haven't joined me recently on one of the Minecraft fan server episodes or any other recent episodes on my channel, I am using a new microphone, which you might be able to tell by my voice. It is a Blue Yeti. I picked it up on the cheap, based on a tip that I saw Kurt J. Mack retweet. We're going to grab some snow, because one of the new things in 1.5, oops, that I was fooling around with is snow, and there's a few things, well, there's at least a couple of things that I want to show off, and they involve snow slabs. So for those of you who don't know, you can now create snow slabs, or kind of like the little snow, kind of like you would find on the ground, but you can stack it to different heights. And I believe in here, no, in here, and here, I'm still getting used to the new reorganization. And I'm pretty sure I own a flint and steel somewhere, but I'm not seeing it anywhere. So why don't I just go ahead and create a new one? And sadly, the first thing that I want to show off with the snow is something that I believe they patched in 1.5.1. I was doing experiments back when it was just 1.5, and I found something interesting. Alright, but let's start from the beginning. So, exploration and tactics science. You can do snow slabs, but you can stack them to multiple heights. And so that's pretty cool. And they actually, as you get a little bit taller, you start going a little bit higher up. You can stack them even 8 high, at which point they look identical Oops. Apparently I didn't go 8 high there. They look pretty much identical to a stone block. And in 1.5, you could set a stone block on fire. When you set the snow slabs on fire, the fire didn't render in 1.5, but that was a bug that they fixed, and so now it's here in 1.5.1, but it used to be you would just have the smoke particles without actually having the fire, and you could still jump in it, and you would get set on fire, and it looked really weird. And another thing, do I have pistons right over here? The sun's going to go down. I'm going to sleep, I'm going to grab some pistons, and we'll be right back. Alright, assuming the snow has not yet melted and is not about to melt, I think I can test this. Oops. That's not where I wanted you to go, piston. I wanted you to go here. There we go. So this is a snow block, and it's a normal block that you can push with a piston. The snow slabs look pretty much identical, but, as we will see in a moment, assuming I can correctly position the piston, why don't I go ahead and dig this back up? Oops. What a mess. That's just an iron shovel. Snow is, like, really easy to destroy. Then I accidentally dug the sand. It just disappears. And similarly, if you place torches by it, it can melt. And so it seems like for people who are map makers creating maps, if you had a snow area, you could do interesting things with snow blocks or stacked bits of snow slabs, kind of intermixed with the normal snow. Those of you who've been on the channel for a while may remember at one point when I was standing in the snow, it was snowing on the ground and I was talking, and then all of a sudden as the snow was falling, it was covering the whole ground, and then a creeper face emerged on the ground. I'll try to link that old episode in this episode, so for those of you who didn't see it, you can go back and find it. Oh, I still have plenty of snow in my inventory. I want to create some more snow slabs to show off one other thing. And yeah, I did that with tripwire, and so the falling snow wouldn't fall on the tripwire squares, but the tripwire wasn't visible at a distance. And so I feel like these new snow slab blocks do the same kind of thing in terms of allowing you to place kind of like cheaty snow or stuff that will emerge either over time as there's more weather or as torches light up the landscape or different things, kind of cause secret passages to emerge. And so I think this is a particular interesting block that they've added in the game. So another thing that I discovered deals with the height of the snow blocks. And so, let's see, how do I want to do this? I guess if I place some blocks too high, alright, I can just walk through in here because it's the same height. But if I destroy these slabs, now I can no longer walk in. And so there's an obscure bit of Minecraft physics at work here. Basically, as you're trying to gain height by stepping up somewhere, you actually try to move up higher. And in this case, I would move up so high that I would hit my head on the block that's up here, even though, well, now the snow slabs have evaporated because they're too near the light. Let me go ahead and remove this torch, and there's a torch up here, just for the purposes of this experimentation. Alright, and I can walk like that. Let's go ahead and break this again. But basically, I can't walk this way because stepping up causes me to hit my head. But if I were already in that height and I didn't have to step up, then I can just walk on through. And so this creates an interesting way that you can create doors. And what's especially interesting is, well, I have a sign right here. I can replace the sign. Suppose I place a block here. And once again, I won't be able to stand up there. Oh no, and I placed this too high. I'm making a mess of this. I need a crafting table. Let's make a crafting table right here. But basically, even though stepping up would cause you to hit your head, if you don't need to step up because you're already at that height, then you don't hit your head. And so... right. And so if I'm here, I can go here, and I can go here, and I can go right in. But I can't go this way because I would hit my head here. And so an interesting thing that I discovered is trapdoors, which let's go ahead and create one of those. Assuming I can remember the recipe for trapdoors, it's not something I create very often. Yes. So trapdoors have an interesting physical shape when they're upright, in that they only is it an eighth of the block or a quarter of the block wide when they're in this position. So as a result, I can step up onto this block before I hit my head, then get to this area to where I'm underneath the trapdoor in order to kind of get through. However, if the trapdoor is down, now I would be immediately hitting my head on the trapdoor. And so it kind of creates a mechanism here. And so effectively, this is just, you know, there's many different types of zombie-proof doors that you can create. And so this is another one. I could basically, let's go ahead and make a button. Put a button next to this trapdoor. Oops. Next to the trapdoor. And so I could hit the button, and it would give me a moment that I could walk through the door, because right now I'm going to hit my head as I try to get up here. But if I hit the button, I can walk through, and then I can slide on by. And then I could just have it with a step up with nothing above my head over here, so that I could always step up inside the room, and then already be at this height. And so I can exit without having to hit any kind of buttons at all. But basically, if a zombie tried to walk up here, he wouldn't be able to, because he'd hit his head, unless someone goes and releases the trapdoor. And so I just thought that was an interesting piece of snow slab physics. It's becoming the case that there's more and more things that have different interesting heights. So this is a quarter of a block tall right now, although it's actually only stand up an eighth on it because you always sink 1/8 of a block into the snow slabs. It's also the case that another of the new blocks, the daylight sensor, which for those of you who watched it, Kurt J. Mack and I did a speed challenge involving daylight sensors, so be sure to check that out. Be sure to check that out if you haven't. Daylight sensors are 3/8 of a block tall, I believe. And so there's more and more things that allow you to have slightly different vertical heights. And I think that will enable a number of different interesting doors and other kind of like mob pathfinding physics that I hope to experiment with in the future as well. But in any case, that was a new piece of 1.5 that I just wanted to kind of talk about and show off. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how practical this is, because if I want to have torchlight around to make sure things aren't spawning, I'm pretty sure these slabs are all going to evaporate. So I'll probably just end up replacing that door. In any case, that was a pretty long-winded introduction to snow slabs. Let's see, what do I want to do next? One of the blocks I've been utilizing recently on the fan server is Soul Sand. It's another interesting block in terms of the fact that when you step on it, you end up sinking down in, so that you're at a height of kind of 7/8 of what a normal block height would be. And so I'm curious to know if you can layer snow on top of soul sand, and it appears that you can. And if so, does it still slow you down? No, it doesn't. Oh, that's interesting. Because normally when you walk on soul sand, you get slowed down. But if you place a layer of snow on top, it no longer has that kind of sunk-in effect that it usually does. And so that's interesting. That's kind of unexpected to me. I'm not sure what to do with that yet. I'll have to think about that. I also don't know, does this stuff like immediately burn up? I'm in a desert biome, but I think it's just due to light levels. How does this interact in the nether? Let's hop in the nether real quick and just put down a couple of these snow slabs and see if you can even place them in the nether. My guess would be yes, because I think they react to light level as opposed to like heat and biomes, like snow golems, for example. Let's just try putting one over here that's pretty far away from a torch. Yeah, it seems like it's just kind of normal snow slabs. Alright. I'd be interested to know if other people have had kind of other interesting scientific discoveries about how snow behaves or other interesting things that you can do with it. But I think perhaps I've exhausted the number of things I want to try with snow right now, so let's move on. I'm not sure if this is something you can only do in creative. I think you can rename chests. Yeah, it seems like it. And so if I call this chest storage, it takes an enchantment cost, but now it's labeled storage. Presumably it will no longer stack. Indeed, it doesn't stack with this chest. And then if I set it on the ground and put something in it, I guess I can just do it right in here. I see, it's labeled as storage. Fascinating. What happens if I try to make a double chest with it? Can I do that? And it's still labeled storage. If I pick up this one, I wonder if each half of the chest like retains its own identity. That's just called chest. That still says storage. I pick this up. Oh, now it's stacked again, and now they're just chests again. Interesting. So maybe only as you set it down does it remember its name and then it forgets. Seems to be the behavior. And so I wonder if I had two different ones with two different names and combine them into a big chest, what it would do. It's actually going to take a fair number of levels, but I think I'm going to try that out. So let me go get some levels real quick. Hello, levels! I can't help but wonder if now a chicken farm might be the best possible experience farm, now that you can completely automate them. Alright, so I have chests named Fred and Barney, and so I'm going to put Barney down on the right over here, I'm going to put Fred down on the left over here, and I'm just curious to see... Alright, this is called Barney, and so it seems like whatever the first name was seems to be the thing that kind of absorbs the whole name of the chest or something. And so presumably this chest is called Barney until such time as I pick it up. Alright, that was just a fun little test, but that would definitely be... I'll have to remember this because then I can like label gifts to people on the fan server. When I'm giving them gifts inside of a chest, I give them a name chest. That could actually be a lot of fun. Wonder if there's... Ooh, I have another idea for stuff I could do with that too. Oh, that's great. Oh, I'm gonna love this. Alright, we'll find out about that later. I'm back over here at the zombie spider skeleton dungeon count that we're keeping here in Exploration and Tactics, and we can see the numbers are 23 to 16 to 11 right now. I always had the suspicion that I find fewer skeleton dungeons than I should, and over on the fan server world, I've done quite a fair bit of caving in the first week there, trying to get everything jump-started and find lots of good stuff. And I've been keeping track over there, and there the numbers are 12 zombies, 5 spiders, and only 2 skeleton dungeons. So I don't know if anyone else is also kind of keeping count in their world. We know the actual percentages according to the game code should be 50, 25, 25, but I always find that there's a little bit fewer skeleton dungeons in all of my worlds, or it seems to turn out that way. I suppose there might be like some kind of psychological effect, especially in 1.5. If I'm out caving and I hear zombies to my right and skeletons to my left, maybe I'm more afraid of the skeletons, and so I'm more likely to go right and find a zombie dungeon than I would be to go left and find a skeleton dungeon. Maybe? And also, zombies tend to be kind of a bit louder and more consistent in their noises, and so maybe they're easier to hear from farther away. But I'm really curious to know if any of you out there are actually kind of keeping track in your worlds of these numbers as well, and if you have enough statistical data to let me know if you experience the same kind of thing. As I'm passing back through here, one block that you may have noticed was missing from the new storage room with sand, and that's simply because I haven't bothered to cart over the like 4 or 5 large double chests full of sand that I probably have in total that I had originally for the sign reveal. I'll have to do that at some other time when I'm bored, because that'll take a while. I need to gather some wood, and while I'm doing that, I can share with you a couple of stories. I think I shared these in a live stream before, earlier last week. I don't think I put them in any of the videos that I had at the fan server so far. But basically, I live in the Seattle area, and I went away a couple weekends ago out onto the Olympic Peninsula to Port Townsend, which is, you know, a bit more kind of a rural area, and in general out here in the Pacific Northwest, like, there's lots of places that you can go. You don't have to travel very far outside the city to get into both a number of different kind of biomes, since we're in Minecraft. Like, there's, you know, there's desert, and there's rainforest, and there's mountains, and there's the coast, all within, you know, like a couple hours drive of the area where I live. But in any case, out in the Olympics, in this area where I was at, you could go walking in the evening time just around kind of like a little suburban neighborhood, and there were deer. There were black-tailed deer just like grazing out on people's lawns, and you could walk right past them on the sidewalk. And yeah, it's one of the kind of like close to nature kind of things that I have experienced. And I actually took some pictures of the deer that I saw from just like 5 or 10 feet away. There was like a pack of 4 or 5 deer just on these people's lawns. And so I wanted to share a photo of that. And so I'm going to put that up on the screen somewhere now, presuming I remember how to do the video editing for that. So that was one little thing. In order to get out to the Olympic Peninsula, the easiest way from here is to take a ferry, because they have ferries that you can just, drive your car on, and it just, takes like a half an hour to go across kind of an inlet of Puget Sound or whatever and get across the Olympic Peninsula. And while you're riding the ferry, you can go above deck, and they have, places where you can grab some snacks or just, watch what's happening outside if it's nice weather and a nice day, like it was that day. And while out there, did I successfully get it all? Yeah, I think, there might be one log right there. I hate it when you cut down a jungle tree and you wait until you get to the bottom before you discover that you made a mistake. Happens to me a lot. I think that's one of the reasons that I actually always have 2 trees here. It's because I can always go back up the other one and then get enough height to correct my mistake without too much trouble. While we were on the ferry, just walking around the back of the ferry, I saw a marriage proposal, which is not something you see every day. I was just walking around the back, and there was apparently a guy and his girlfriend, and just after I walked by, I thought he was starting to stoop, and I turned around and looked, and he had gotten down on one knee, and he said, "Will you marry me?" And the girl said yes. And so that's definitely, something you don't see every day. And so that was kind of cool. Have any of you ever witnessed just a, kind of random... I am trying to move objects around in my inventory. I've said it many times before, the, drag motion is too sensitive. It thinks you're dragging, when in fact you're just trying to swap a couple of blocks in your inventory, and I find that frustrating. I hope they somehow manage to improve the drag sensitivity so it only tries to drag items around when it can. But yeah, I don't know that I've ever, seen that before, just in public, someone doing a marriage proposal and, getting down on one knee. And she said yes. I can't remember if I already said that when I was starting to tell the story before I got distracted by the stupid piece of wood that I was trying to swap out in my inventory. Sigh. I think today is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. I feel like it was kind of eclectic bits. I don't know that we really got a whole lot done, but I got a chance to do a little bit more experimentation with some bits of 1.5. And I feel like I've been doing that over on the fan server, and so definitely I think the next fan server video I'm going to do will be, at least starting out, a continuation of the mob farm that I've been building using soul sand and pistons. That seems to be working pretty well, and so I feel like we're doing some good science over in the fan server as well as finally getting to the point to where I feel like I'm in pretty good shape in terms of resources and just need a little bit more in terms of experience farm and mob grinding stuff to have, access to, for example, a stack of TNT, which might be useful for one thing or another. And for those of you who have been attending any of the live streams, you also know that I've already started to hoard various bits of inventory that I think will be useful in pranks, because one thing that's nice about being on the fan server, as opposed to just in a single-player world, is there's other people to interact with. And yes, I am planning and hoping to have some fun with that in the future. So definitely check out the fan server videos if you haven't as well. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to try to interact with more folks, and so hopefully have some more, over a Skype call and going caving with some folks and having them help me build some stuff down in one of the towns. And so you guys can look forward to that. And yeah, other than that, I think we'll go ahead and call it a day for here in Exploration and Tactics. But I will try not to be as remiss with this world because, like I said at the beginning of the video, I think I went 10 or 11 days without an ENT video, which is definitely too long because I know it's, the main running series here or whatever, and definitely the most popular thing I do here. And so I want to keep this up for you guys as well. And I definitely still have my list of ideas to keep me going for this particular world. So in any case, I hope you guys are having a great day. I will see you again soon, whether it be in this world or another one. And so, I already said it. I'll say it again. I hope you guys are having a great day. I screwed up my outro. That seems to happen to everyone every so often. All right, bye-bye. See you later. This episode of Exploration and Tactics is sponsored by Zombie Potato Industries. If they're not zombie potatoes, then they're not potatoes.